Hazırsanız içeri giriyoruz. Hey.
Now, Birmingham at the time was not a city yet, so we weren't actually made a city until quite deep into Victorian times. It's not a lot of people know. Birmingham was a market town that dates back all the way to the Middle Ages with the Woolwich Market, and we were always good at metalworking. He built the Turkish baths as well. So
Yeah.
oh wow, that's a good pool. Just again, went through just.
Yeah, thanks, Lord.
Evet. Şöyle yazıyor. Sizlere böylece de Birmingham'dan selamlar. Herkese merhaba arkadaşlar. Birmingham'ın Pen Museum'una, Kalem Müzesi'ne gidiyoruz. Evet, size şöyle gösteriyorum. Kalem Müzesi'ne gireceğiz. Girişler ücretli ama burada bizi esrarengiz kalemlerin beklediğini tahmin ediyorum. Bakalım, göreceğiz. Hazırsanız içeri giriyoruz. Hey. Şu an Pen Museum'da. Burada çeşitli David kalemler var. Yazı denemesi yapabiliyorsunuz. Onları size göstereceğim. Burada şöyle yazı örnekleriyle birlikte Pen Museum paper'lar, mürekkep koymuşlar. Yazanlar da buraya hatıra olarak bırakmışlar. Şimdi biz de buradan Türkiye'den selam göndereceğiz. Yazalım bakalım. Şimdi buradaki kalemlerle deneme yapacağım. Bakalım. Mürekkep alalım şuradan. Bakalım. Elimize mürekkep bulaşmasın. Bakalım nasıl geçişkenliği. Wow. Şöyle gösteriyorum. İlk defa bu kadar keskin yazan bir kalemle tanışıyorum. Şu mürekkebi göremiyorsunuz çünkü mürekkep oraya sabitlenmiş, çıkmıyor. Evet. Evet. Şöyle yazıyor. Sizlere böylece de Birmingham'dan selamlar.
Olur. Ana baktığında olsa garip. Kolunu baktılar çalışmış. The what's it coming out? What was that? Pen, no. There's something else come out after the pen nibs. Darlo come out.
Evet arkadaşlar, merhaba herkese tekrardan. 1900 yılların başında kadın çalışanlar burada çalışıyormuş ve elleriyle şu torna makinesi gibi olan o makineler üzerinde kadınlar bu fountain pen, dolma kalem uçlarını kendileri elleriyle yapıyorlar. Günde işte belli bir kadar çıkarıyorlar ve çocuk işçiler de 19. yüzyılın başında çalıştırıyormuş. 1800 yıllar. Burada eğitim alıp çalıştırılıyorlarmış öncesinde. Burası da müzenin diğer bir kısmı. Şöyle, şimdi birazdan kalem ucu yapacağız. Sizlere birazcık burayı da göstereyim. Ardından kalem ucu yapmak için heyecanla bekliyorum. Şurada mürekkepleri görüyorsunuz. Süper. Şimdi bizi çağırıyor kalem ucu yapmak için. Geçiyoruz kalem ucu yapmaya.
I'm going to take a sheet of metal like this. So to give you some context into our trade, so the pen trade was particularly popular during the early 1800s. It began, so the 1820s it really started to kick off with a man called Joseph Gillett. I don't know if you've heard of the name. He was one of the big pen manufacturers.
Wow.
You might have also heard of William Edward Wiley and Josiah Mason. Now, Birmingham at the time was not a city yet, so we weren't actually made a city until quite deep into Victorian times. It's not a lot of people know. Birmingham was a market town that dates back all the way to the Middle Ages with the Woolwich Market, and we were always good at metalworking. So, has anyone heard of the Industrial Revolution? So this kicks off in Victorian England, and Birmingham is in a prime place to benefit it. Why do you think that might be? There's a couple of
Does he have the
reasons.
resources?
Resources is partially yes. Think about where we are in the country. We're smack bang in the middle. And as we're smack bang in the middle, that means that basically anyone that comes through us from the north or the south to get to each other, or east or west, has to come through Birmingham.
Mm.
And we have the canal networks and later the train networks, which meant the city, as it is today with our trains, is pretty impossible to ignore. Now, you were quite right when you were talking about our resources, but it was actually our ability to get those resources from local areas that enabled us to do so well in the revolution, because actually a lot of the materials, none of them were made in Birmingham. Birmingham wasn't actually known for that, but we have the Black Country, just kind of up the road in Victorian times, which we got a lot of coal from, especially. And does anyone know where metals such as steel came from? Any guesses?
Sheffield?
Sheffield, yes. So Sheffield and Middlesbrough is where Birmingham got the most of its metal, and the pen trade itself got its steel for the steel pen nips.
Oh.
So the in the industrial revolution is happening. Birmingham is being called the city of 1,000 trades. Have you heard that term before? Does anyone know what it means?
It's had so many workshops.
So at this time, a lot elsewhere in the country, a lot of places had what we call guilds, which meant that essentially to work in them, you almost had to pay your way into them. Birmingham didn't have that. We were a place that was kind of no guilds at all. You could come and work and make honest money, and that was Birmingham. There was no entry fees or anything like that. And that was quite a change in the metal industry at the time. So, lots of people come into Birmingham. There's two types of buildings that we have in our city centre. So I want you to imagine the city centre as you might know it now, as you've walked around. Of course, the ballroom markets, since medieval times, that's still around. But the city centre looks quite similar in a way. And if you've ever noticed walking around Birmingham, especially this area, we're all in blocks. Have you ever noticed that you can walk around in like a square the most? Why do you think that is? Because it was in Victorian times that the
It's
city...
easy to get around.
Yes, is there any other suggestions, do you think?
To protract, maybe.
So the actual reason, and it's quite simple, is that in these areas, these blocks were either back-to-back housing, I don't know if you've heard of that, which is essentially blocks of houses built directly back-to-back to each other, so they were always built like this, in a complete round shape, or factories. So Joseph Gillett, who I introduced, his factory, the first big factory in Birmingham, was the Victoria Works, which is the building opposite us. You can still see the front of it if you walk down and turn left. That was the first big pen factory in Birmingham.
Wow.
There went on to be over 100 in Birmingham, and 75% of the world's pens were made in this city. So, I've done some talking at you. What we're going to do now is we're going to have a little bit of a play, and we're going to tell you about our factories itself. So this factory, original factory, the flooring is original, built in 1863 by William Edward Wiley, who specialised in making gold pen nibs. He bought this land and built a factory, and built one other thing on it that you might not expect. He built a Turkish baths as well.
Demonstration.
So yes, he built a Turkish bath. You can see if you stand outside that our building just raises up, and that was because he used the steam that was produced in the factory to basically work the Turkish baths. Also made him a lot more money as well, and he got a Turkish bath out of it that he could use.
So could his employees go into the Turkish baths?
They would not have been able to afford it.
Oh, that's expensive, is it? Oh, right.
It was your high Victorian
right.
cost. So, talking about the employees, we kind of nicely segue me into it. So, in our factories, 75% of our workforce were women. And it was mostly women on what we call the ground floor, which is essentially on the machines, working day to day. Our factories rooms would look very much like we have here, kind of very similar to what we've got, in that you'd have a room full of one machine. So for this one, it is this machine, okay, which they used to basically sharpen the nibs and smooth them out. So this would move very, very quickly. You can see that lady. No, that's a different machine, ignore me. But essentially, move very quickly as you have your nib there. Each room would have one type of machine with a lady who would work on it all day long. So, their hours would be between 10 and 14, and they would work to what we call a lot. Okay? So how do you think they would get paid?
By the lot.
By the lot, exactly.
I know that because I worked in a factory doing jewellery. They call them lots.
Exactly. Yes. So, what I have here is a standard lot for the pen industry at the time.
Wow.
Now, at this time, we found that obviously differed from company to company. So the person at the top could decide what the lot was. We found the average was 18,720. One person, that's one day of work.
Good God.
They will not get paid until they have done this.
Wow.
We found the lesser number is about 14,000 that they would ask, but we found that the average that most people would do in one day is 28,000.
Wow, that's incredible.
Nibs. And when I say nibs, I mean the equivalent on their machines. So they wouldn't do the whole process, they'd just be on one machine for the whole day, and it would be that equivalent. So, to give you an insight, the first machine I'm going to show you, the first part of the process, we have a piece of metal. What we need to do is this has been rolled out by the men upstairs and sent down. And what we need to do is we essentially need to cut out a template of our nib. We call them blanks because us Burmese are very clever. If you've cut out a piece of nib and it's blank on it, it's a blank. So I call them blanks. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this variation of a fly press to cut out our templates. So what they would do is, can you all see I've fed a bit of metal through my machine?
Oh yes.
And I just put it on a bolt on the last one to see where I am. Okay. So what they would do is they would be sat on a stool. So they would be obviously lower down. So do be careful when we're using the machines about your head. These ones you should be okay with, but again, just be careful. What we're going to do is have the machine in this kind of position. And I want you to give it a really good pull towards yourself, okay? So go kind of as hard as you can, okay? And that's the sound we're looking for. If it doesn't come out straight away, don't worry, we'll have another go, or we'll put it through and go to the next one. So yes, it would drop usually into a bucket so they could keep going for their 18,000. So, person on the blanking or cutting machine, 18,700 of these that they need to make.
Oh my God.
And they would be weighed most likely, but there will be people's jobs to literally go through everyone and check them. So that's how they would know how many you're doing.
That's ridiculous.
So, one three did through and again, fed through each time. Now, would you like to have a go to begin?
Let Lorraine go
No,
first.
no,
Go on,
you
ladies
do it.
first.
No, you go.
Go on, I'll give it a go then. Alright, so we give it...
Bit of stick, give it a good pull towards yourself. There we go.
How's that? It didn't tinkle.
It didn't pop through, but that's okay, it does happen, so we have just...
You didn't do it right.
It
Didn't drop down, did it?
Yes.
There it is.
Okay.
Success.
So, our machines are original, they are over 100 years old, and they love to play
It's
games.
normally.
And they love to
Been
play
used
games.
a lot of times.
Absolutely.
So, there's your bag.
Oh, thank you very
We'll
much.
use that as we go down.
So,
Okay, whoever's next wants to do that.
Okay.
Go on, Lorraine, you give it a go.
So I'm pulling it. Where
Sure.
am I pulling it?
Sorry.
Oh,
On
here,
it, towards
okay.
yourself, a
Okay.
good pull on it.
Oh, that wasn't good enough.
That's okay.
Huh?
You got the back of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, there's a few that have been gone down. Oh, thank you. I didn't know that was mine.
Because of my angle, I watched it. That's why I stand here, because I can see if you're trying it. Okay. There's it. Here we go.
Next.
Who's next up?
You can.
There you go.
Okay.
Do you want to move down
Yeah.
to this guy? If you pull it back and then give it a really hard pull out.
That's really good.
So you put it back into this position and go and give it a really good pull.
Ah.
There you
Did
go.
it come down?
I think it got a bit stuck again, but again it's more our machine, it's definitely being pushed through.
Yes.
Okay.
Good. There you go.
Is it coming up?
It has.
Oh.
As I said, you can hear when it cuts and it's not falling because it's our machine playing up, not a note on your skill. So I do promise you that.
Can I?
Did mine come down?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a good pull.
Just again, went through just with this.
Yes. Ooh, okay.
Good far back.
Okay.
Why don't you do it?
Oh, you do it.
Is A, smack your head on this. In Victorian, that is not a risk. That happens every day. They're not concerned about that. B, trap your hand in it and potentially crush your hand. Again, not a problem, not a risk. They're not bothered about that in the slightest. This one, whilst it is, I think, possibly more unlikely than injuring yourself there, you could get your hand trapped in the needle on there. Now, this is the crucial thing for Victorians.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you get your hand trapped in the needle,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
production has to stop
Oh,
to be able to remove it from your
Oh,
hand.
all right.
A bruise or a crushing, keep going.
I suppose you're going so fast that
Stop production. Yeah.
So that means because when we think about 18,000 a day, we've worked it out at roughly 2 every 1.5 seconds. So if you need to stop to help someone, if a foreman needs to be for them to get them, and then to help them get it out of their hands, that would cost too much time, too much money. So you were paid more for this one because it's a more dangerous step. You have
Okay.
more responsibility
Okay.
to make sure you didn't injure
Yes,
yourself.
when we do that now easily, it's
Yes.
not maybe not dangerous, but they do that too fastly.
Yes, they
yeah,
do
it so
that's
quick.
right.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And
You're pumping them out.
it would be just keep going. And yeah, so this one is called marking. So what we're doing with this one, and you'll notice with these next few machines, if we've got safeties on them, just to stop them falling, they wouldn't have had. So they would have had to have lined things up with one hand whilst holding it to stop it falling on themselves. So there was 2 ways to mark a pen nib, and by marking I mean essentially stamping the name of our company or the type of pen that we've got. So for ours, they're round hand pedigree nibs. There were 2 ways to do it. There was this one, which is the nicer way we're going to use, and then looming evilly in the background is our drop stamp. Is anyone familiar with a drop stamp?
No.
So, drop stamp it does the same thing that our fly press does, and by that I mean it prints the name of our company onto your nib
Okay.
and any other information. However,
For a
this
brand.
relies on your hand and foot coordination.
Oh.
Because can you see in this photo that this lady has got her foot in the bottom of the rope, and she's using her hand and foot to lift up our machine.
Oh yeah.
Your nib would go here like this, and then you would drop this entire thing using your foot onto your nib. So of course your hand and foot coordination between placing it on and removing it, but still going like that, doing it at the pace would be moving your hand in, out, every 1.5 seconds, getting 2 done. So even for Victorian standards, this was quite dangerous. So this would be one of the higher paid ones. Now, these were made illegal at some point, but it wasn't until the 1970s.
Right.
And there was a bit of a funny thing in the law, which always makes me laugh, is that they were made illegal unless you already had one. If you had one, not only could you keep it, but you could still use it legally. So you'll find in the jewellery quarter today that people still use machines like this. They're still dangerous. There's not I know someone who makes badges here in the jewellery quarter, one of the local businesses. He's distinguishable by the fact he's missing part of his thumb. You can guess where that has come from.
Yeah.
But this would be, again, one of the more dangerous ways to make a nib. But it was also one of the best ways to stamp because of the power that you could get
The weight of it,
to it and the weight of it. Now, the machine we're going to use was created in a fly press form to essentially aid in manufacturing. So Joseph Gillett was a big pioneer of changing how manufacturing goes and using presses. So for at one point they would, I don't know how it worked, but they were trying to cut things handheld, do the piercing handheld. They would also, before fly presses, try and push out their nibs with by hand by cutting them out. So I can't imagine how successful that was. People like Gillett pioneered the manufacturing and the mass manufacturing, and basically the pen trade is a consistent redevelopment of the status quo. When you look at it from the 20s onwards, it is basically people like Gillett going, I'm fed up with how this isn't helpful, so I'm going to make it easier. So with the drop presses the drop stamps in mind, again, very good for what they do, but it's dangerous, and people are resource at this time, as bad as it sounds. So we have this machine marking. What we have is quite a hard machine to use. This is where people get a bit competitive. So what we're going to do is I have on my base of my machine the outline of our pen nib. Okay? And we're going to line it up. If we can kind of go for rough side down again, we're going to line it up onto our machine.
Upside down, yeah.
Okay?
Upside down.
No.
So line it up on our machine as best as we can, like that. We haven't got anything to guide us other than that marking. So we've got to try and get it as straight as we possibly can and lined up just over the top of the gap where the nib outline is. Now, what we're going to do is I will take the safety off for you once you've placed your nib. I will pass the machine to you, and I find people like to steady it with their left hand as they get it, and then take this with their right. And now you can either use both, but I find it easier to just use my right. And this is a machine that if you have any aggression to let out, this is the time to do it. I find a lot of visitors like to think of someone or something when they're doing this, and really go for it, because we need to make up for the fact that we haven't got our heavy drop stamp. So you want to give this a good whack, as hard as you can.
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
so you can do mine.
And what I have done, that's quite impressive for me actually, it's always a bit of a gamble about how well you can line it up because there is no guide to it.
Okay.
But we have, in quite minuscule writing,
Yeah.
W. Mitchell, so William Mitchell, one of the manufacturers, round hand, pedigree and England. And that's what's going to be on yours. Okay? So again, we come up one of at a time. This one especially, just make sure everyone's got a bit of space. Feel free once you've done to kind of go round if that's easier. Should we go you first, as you're at the front?
Just do it, right?
And then it's going to come round.
Okay. Music
This, and you want to bring it towards you this time. You okay?
Okay, I'm okay.
Yeah?
What is...
So you've done what
Oh,
you need
okay.
to.
Is it-
Did you break the machine?
No, I'm okay. So it's not problem.
I was more worried about your head, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect times where they would heat and soften or harden. So our metal is actually naturally quite soft. Theirs probably would have been harder for these machines, and then once they start to put the stamp in, they'd soften it. And then so we can do the raising. So we want it really soft so it will bend for us. They would then, after this machine, harden it. So they heat it again to harden it, put a coating on it. It'd go through a barreling, which is a scaling process, and then you would have your pen nibs. So you will get your souvenir nibs, but they can't write with, unfortunately. But I will give you a fully made pen nib to go with, so you'll get both, and this will write.
Oh, great.
So, on to the final stage. What we're going to do is the bit that we have stamped, where R0 pokes out, that needs to face the bottom of our machine, and we want the top of the nib to face kind of towards the window like this.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a bit of a diagonal. We've got grips this time to help us.
Silik olan yer.
So what I do
Aynen
is
şekilde
I
böyle.
go top of the nib down like that,
Aşağıdan.
and then just push it under, and the rest just slots in. Okay. Safety off. We don't need a lot of aggression because our nib is very soft, so it will naturally bend, and we're just going to guide it nicely onto it.
Oh,
Doesn't
shapes it.
Yeah, doesn't need it a lot. Realistically, if you just let it fall, it would itself. So it's a nice ball. It's quite satisfying when you feel it bend and everything.
Yeah, wow.
Very neat.
There we
nice.
go. Okay.
Okay.
Shall I go next?
Yeah,
Ya
Happy with that?
it's a bit crooked. It's a crooked.
Çekeyim mi?
Aha.
Yeah,
Isındı ama.
Yeah,
Is that right?
that's all right.
Yeah.
You've done the process.
Biraz.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you want like that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, thanks, Lord. So beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank
Oh,
you.
I enjoyed it.
There is a third room if you haven't had the chance to look, just through that
Yeah.
door.
Yeah.
And there's plenty to do in there. We've got graphology.
Thanks so much.
Which is the study of your handwriting.
Oh,
There's
right.
calligraphy books, more ink for you to have a go with. We've got a 3D model system of
Evet, bu da gift shop'u. Buradan bakıyoruz. Kalem uçları vesaire. Sanırım buradan şu kalemleri şöyle görüyor musunuz? Kalem uçlarını alıp bunların uçlarına göre buradan istediğimizi bulup bir kalem şeyi oluşturabiliyoruz uçlarla birlikte. İstediğimiz şekilde. Nasıl bir şeymiş? Buradakiler de ücretsiz mesela. Şunlar ücretsiz. Free. Bakalım buradan bir tane kalem veya belki mürekkep alabilirim. Şöyle göstereyim size de. Görelim.